All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Be Organic podcast. My name is Landon Eccles, co-founder and CEO of Clean Juice. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Kat. We are actually on set live in Nocatee, Florida, and we have a very special guest that I'm going to allow Kat to introduce.
So not that this guest needs much introduction, but he won the Heisman Trophy and 2 national championships as a quarterback for the University of Florida. It's my pleasure to introduce the one and only Tim Tebow.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Tim, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to hang out with you guys for the day, too, and grateful I got the chance to know y'all over the last few months and everything that y'all are doing, and glad to be a part of it. And it's exciting to actually be here.
Thank you. We're so excited.
I think it's cool to mention too, I think everyone knows you just from your sports background, but what I found so interesting and just getting to know you and talk to you is you really have so much more going on than that, even more so than sports, and it's your business ventures. And one of my most favorite things, your Tim Tebow Foundation, which really helps with human trafficking. And I think we came in to talk about business, and many of our conversations just turned to that because it's something we're passionate about as well. So I just wanted to mention that and make sure I brought it up because I think it's really important.
Thank you so much. And it's definitely I believe my biggest calling and purpose is to fulfill our mission statement, which is to bring faith, hope, and love to those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour of need. And we do that in every way possible because ultimately we believe the greatest thing you can do in life is change another life for the better. And we try very hard to do that every day and every opportunity that God gives us.
So I guess we're here today because we're partnering with you, which is so awesome. And I think it was super natural for us because obviously what we do here at Clean Juice is clean food and organic eating. And that's something that you've been passionate about, not only for your athletic career, but just for your businesses and your ventures and just performing at your peak. So I'd love to hear kind of about your journey to how you got there and how you know it's important.
Yeah, I love that, Kat, because it's not, so many people think for me that the way I eat and the way I train and a lot of things I do in life are because of sports. And sports are only a tiny piece of that. I will be as focused on what I eat, how I sleep, how I go about life, just as much when I'm done playing sports, because for me it's a way of life. It's not just a way of sports. And I want to be as healthy and as focused and as healthy in body, as strong in spirit, 50 years from now, because every day that God gives me, I want to make the most of that. I want to make the most of it in sports, but I want to make even more so, I want to make the most of it in life. And so many times we train for sports so we can be our best, but we got to have that same mindset, that same heart posture, that same focus in life, so that when God gives us opportunities and opens doors for us in life, that we're ready to be able to take advantage of that. We're not bogged down with stress. We're not fatigued. We have the energy to go after those things, with our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And I'm someone that when I would learn something about health, I would always want to apply it. So like when I learned as a boy when I was 15 years old just how bad sodas and junk food was, I got rid of it, and I had a soda since I was 15 years old. And then in college, and our nutritionist, they would have carb loading and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, I guess this is the best thing, right? And then I was like, well, this has a lot of negative effects. I'm gonna get rid of this. And it's just been this constant journey of trying to learn and grow and adapt and what I would hear and who I would be around. And so it's exciting to be with you guys and offering something that really is, it's clean and it's healthy. But I would say for me, probably the biggest thing over everything is it's trustworthy. And there's not a lot of places you can go where exactly what they put on their signs is exactly what you get in your food. And that's one of the biggest things that we started with our conversations in trusting exactly, right? When you say, okay, it's USDA certified organic, you mean it. And then we've talked through all your testing and how hard it is to get all of that. And so it's like, hey, you know what? It means enough to you, and that means enough to me, and I appreciate that.
That's awesome. It's funny. My next question for you is going to be, so when you're going out to a restaurant, what's the one thing that you really care about when you're choosing where to eat? But you kind of just answered that.
Yeah, and that's honestly why it's hard. You try to find places where you can trust what they're giving you, but you don't have, I'm trying not to be negative, but you don't have a lot of those options, right? Because you don't know whether you also might order something you believe healthy, but you don't know the background of what it's come from, what the soil was like, all the different things. And so, for me and my wife, we both so believe in trying to take care of our body and get the cleanest products we can. And even when for her, when she cheats a little bit, it's still like a healthy cheat, you know? And so it's just, for us, it's so important. And that's why one of the biggest things that comes to my brain is trustworthy, because it's also the peace of mind, right? And you might not always feel the difference of just one meal, but that peace of mind of knowing, hey, what I'm getting is exactly what's on the label.
Absolutely, no doubt. I appreciate you answering that. So when you're, going out and you're eating something, a lot of people think that to eat healthy, it's not going to taste good, but I'm sure you've got a ton of favorites that are super healthy. Tell us about some of your favorite things.
I'll tell you, when I first started with the keto diet, which was in 2011, the end of 2011. First of all, no one knew what it was, and most people had no idea how to make recipes for it, but so much has changed along the way. A lot of people are, even if it's not keto, they're finding more low carb options, low sugar options, and so you're getting a lot more options today than you had 10 years ago, which I'm very grateful for. But then we also have just found different ways to, like, we just had pasta the other night that my wife cooked. Sorry. We just had pasta, but we made it out of my dad's garden. He has squash and zucchini, and so we had the squash and zucchini, and then we had all of the sauce on top, which was amazing, which Demi made. And it was like, I'm eating spaghetti, you know? Like, this is amazing. And then we have brownies, we have healthy ice creams, we have awesome smoothies, we have even when we splurge, you can have cauliflower pizza. Like, so there's so many more options. And I think when people say now, hey, there's not a lot, I have a sweet tooth, I'm like, okay, is it going to be as good as if you just pour a bunch of sugar and brownies? No, but it's good enough to stop the cravings. I really believe that. And I think if you give it a try, for some people listening, you're like, hey man, I really love my, I'm Italian and I love this, and so much is culture based too. I think there's enough options for most people now where it can be good enough, but also healthy enough. And I would encourage people to just give it a try.
Well, I think you kind of train your taste buds too, right? It's like, of course, the first time, like...
Mine have totally changed.
Yeah, is that now you'd probably go eat, I don't even know, Chick-fil-A or something, and you'd be like, maybe I shouldn't have... You'd eat a chicken sandwich, fried or whatever, and you might be like, that's not the best thing for... you wouldn't enjoy it as much as you thought.
I can taste very quickly when I have something where I feel like they put something in it.
Yeah.
I can taste it and I can feel it very quickly. My taste buds have changed so much to now when I somehow get a bite of something, I'm like, ooh, that's too much, and I don't like it. And I've never been a really sweet person, even when I was young and I would have sweets. But it's changed so much more to where I don't really, and people say, do you have the cravings? Honestly, probably never. Really, like it, every now and then if, Demi's having ice cream, I'll get a little keto, but I never want a regular ice cream or something. It just, I think, the longer you kind of train your body and your mind, I think the more it adapts and you become so comfortable with it and excited knowing that I'm choosing healthy options.
Right. When you feel so good, so you're like, why would I stop doing this?
That's right.
Yeah. I'd love to hear kind of like what a day in the life of Tim Tebow's food looks like. Oh,
that's a really good question. I think it changes and adapts depending on the day, the practice, how hard it is, the training, if I'm traveling, if I'm speaking, if we're on a mission trip, it's all different. And I really try to adapt because of all those things. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a mission trip in a foreign country and I've just decided to go full fast because it's just easier. Like, I'm just gonna get a bunch of water and I'm going full fast because if it's a quick trip, 3, 4, 5 days, then I would go on either a full fast or a moderated fast on some of those trips. And It was helpful because honestly, sometimes you eat something that you don't know exactly what it is, and that can be a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
And so could be an option for like practices that we've just had. It'd be a lot more intake because the stress level and the impact. So Every morning, the last few mornings, has been a 6-egg omelet with bacon, sausage, chicken, and ham all mixed in. So I'm getting a bunch of protein, I'm getting a bunch of fat in there, and I'm fueling up pretty good. I'm killing so much water. That would just be in the morning, and I'm probably having something like that 5 or 6 times within the day, and also multiple shakes, smoothies in between, to be able to get everything else. Those are really high, heavy lift, heavy training, heavy practice days. So it changed based on what I'm asked to do. Sunday I'll be doing a church service not far from you guys in North Carolina, and so that'll look a little bit different. I will, have something earlier in the morning, but I'm not going to crush it right beforehand, because before I speak I can't really eat a lot, So that's where, like, honestly, a green drink and a little coffee or something might do the trick beforehand. Then after the first service, before the second one, I might do another one. Then after I finish the next service, I might eat a little bit more food, because it's hard for me to eat before I speak. And so it just totally changes based on what I'm kind of asked to do, and the stress level and how hard it is to do that.
It makes a ton
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, you're clearly on the go, but you have different things that you do to fit kind of the regimen of your day. But it's really all centered around, a desire to just eat clean, prolong your life, and live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. And I think the one thing that, I say, so I mentioned earlier that I'm on a keto diet, but I think sometimes when you talk about the keto, it's very easy to be keto, but not always be clean keto. And so I want to encourage people to be, there's a lot of different diets. I think it's not one for everybody, but for me it's keto, but it's also clean. It's as much organic, it's green, it is, yes, I consume a lot of good fats, a lot of avocados, good amount of protein, but then I think sometimes we miss the boat with a lot of people that are keto, is they forget the clean and the organic as much as possible. And I think for me it's a mixture of all of those. And that's something that I really want to encourage a lot of people, is even when you're, you pick a certain diet and there's these lists of foods on there, make sure those are the clean versions of those, and I think sometimes we just think, that's okay, I can eat this chicken, I can eat this, I can eat this steak, I can eat, let's get the cleanest versions of what you can eat.
Right.
That's something else I feel like I've been learning over this time as well.
That's a great point. People hear keto, and I think they probably think, immediately it's a ton of meats, right? But our friend wrote a book called Ketotarian, which is basically a keto diet, but it's all plant-based, right? And so you can eat keto, but in a very healthy way, right? French fries are technically keto, but I don't see you eating French fries, right?
Are they really?
Yeah.
Based on it? I've never heard that. Whose definition? I don't know. Yeah, no, I haven't had French fries in a real long time. So, no, I get, I think that's important, is let's not just follow a diet per se, just follow the words, but let's figure out how that works for you, and then get the cleanest versions of those, so that we can be as healthy, be as focused, be as energetic to fulfill the things we're asked to do.
So you mentioned smoothies a few times. Obviously, we love that because we sell a lot of smoothies, right?
Oh, I love them too.
Well, I want to ask you about that. Playful question.
Yes.
If we made a Tim Tebow smoothie, what would be in it?
The base has to be avocado.
Okay.
I love avocado. And I feel like nothing really gives me the same energy and focus that avocados do. I would if I'm going, so it's smoothie, not juice. If I'm going smoothie, I would go, yes, it has to be avocado. I would go a macadamia nut butter or a cashew butter or something, almond butter, something like that mixed in. I would go a whey protein in there as well. I would maybe add some cacao nibs in there, and especially if the whey protein's chocolate. And then I would make it like a peanut butter chocolate type smoothie. But if I'm going juices, then I'm gonna add a bunch of spinach, celery, cucumber, lemon, ginger, turmeric, and those would probably be my my juices and my smoothies.
Funny, I'd be
Off the
drinking
top of my
juice,
head.
You'd be drinking the smoothie.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was just going to say, it's funny, you basically just described our double one smoothie and our green juice.
I love
right?
it. Nice.
So, you don't even need to be.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love those. And honestly, the thing for me too that I'm so grateful for is smoothies when I don't really feel like eating more. And sometimes when you're training hard, you got to get so much, but you don't want to just keep eating, to be honest with you. It's such a great way to give yourself the fuel quickly, easily, and with great taste. And that's something that smoothies and juices do for me. It's like, man, I don't want to sit here, especially before an event or something. You don't really feel like you don't have an appetite, but I know I need to fuel myself with something. And it's smoothies and juices are the easiest.
I'm the same way at the office. You know, we're running all day long, barely have time to grab anything. I have a smoothie every single day for lunch just because, you know, I'm not an athlete, or I'm not training like you are, but at the same time, you know, I'm using my mind, I'm working through, you know, working with all my directs, you know, working on growing the brand, and it takes a lot of energy, right? And so a lot of times I don't have time to just sit there and eat this massive meal. So I have a smoothie every single day for lunch, and I follow it up with a juice in the evening.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's in your smoothie?
So I drink our youthful one every single day.
What's in that one?
So that's blueberries, coconut oil,
Blueberries.
almond milk. There's a double scoop of hemp protein in there. I had spinach and spirulina.
Sounds pretty good.
Would you try my smoothie?
Yes.
All right. It's a deal.
I'm like, why not? Oh, I could definitely make a good. You could come up with a good blueberry one too.
I love blueberries.
Yeah, me too.
They're
That
so
could be.
good.
I like, you got me thinking over here. It's like, okay, come on, we need to get in the kitchen for a second.
Absolutely.
I love it. It's fun.
So I'd love to transition to your faith a little bit, because that's, you know, kind of, you know, what you're known for. And I even remember being back in probably, how old are you?
33.
I'm 34. So we were probably about on that same track, and you had the Bible verses under your eyes, and, you know, we all thought that was so cool. But something that really struck me in past conversations we've had is, you said even at an early age you would be in church and they would be preaching and saying things, and, you know, maybe the pastor was severely overweight, or there was, you know, this big gluttony issue that nobody was talking about. So it sounds to me like even with your healthy eating from an early age, God really put that conviction in your heart, and something that you would be passionate about.
And see, I'm not passionate about everybody having six packs. That has nothing to do with it. I've never encouraged anybody to worry about really their figure. I want to worry about people's health, because I believe every single person has a calling, has an opportunity, has a chance, has a mission that God has given us, right? Every single person, I believe, has that, right? But when we don't take care of ourselves, what we're really saying to God is, hey, this vessel, this temple that you gave us, it's not really that important. And I want God to know that, man, what you've given me is so important. I want to do every possible thing with it to honor you and to help as many people as possible. And giving yourself the right fuel, the right focus, we have the ability to change our lives by the way that we eat, the way that we sleep, the way that we take care of ourselves. And when we don't focus on it, to me, it's a little bit like, hey, God, you know, it's not that important. And I believe that every single life is so valuable that God sent his son, right? Because God loves life. He said Jesus came to give life and give life abundantly, right? And we need to have the same mindset, right? Every life is so valuable. Every life is so important. But we need to take care of our bodies that way, like we really care about it. And so for me, I've been very passionate about that, whether it was being on the Governor's Council of Physical Fitness for the state of Florida, or it was, doing things with young people and obesity and wanting to be a part of it and help with it. It's just been so important to me because I think education is important, encouragement is important, giving people healthy options is important. To be able to, that's why I'm grateful to be a part of, something like this with you guys and Clean Juices, because you know what, is it for profit? Yes. But it's also for a purpose, and it's also for people. And I want to believe that when people walk in, that yes, is there a chance we can make a profit? Of course, because that matters, right?
Sure.
But also, do we also believe that it's for a purpose and it's for people and they can be better by it? Yes, because ultimately that's more important than the for-profit part will ever be for me. Because I do believe that whatever our hand finds to do, we should do it with all our might, right? And we can't do that unless we are giving ourselves the right fuel, the right mindset, the right focus to be able to go after those things. And I want to go after whatever God wants me to go after. And to do that, I need to take care of my body so I'm ready when he asks me to run.
Absolutely. I think that's so well said. And, I love how you said that those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. And I think so many times people do think that, we can make drastic impact in the world, positive change, and also, make money to support our families while doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, the Bible calls for it. When we founded Clean Juice, we wanted God to be in the center of what we do. So our mission statement is straight from 3 John 1:2, which is, "Dear friend, I hope all is well with you and that you're as healthy in body as you are strong in spirit." And when you hear, that as part of our mission statement, how does that resonate with you? And what do you, just tell me your thoughts.
Well, I think it's healthy in body by the fuel you put in it, and it's strong in spirit by the encouragement. And that's one thing I feel is, just being around you guys and the joy and the happiness and not being ashamed of your faith, having it here on the wall, that when people walk in, they're encouraged, not because they're necessarily preached to, but because there's a smiling face. There's people that are excited to see them, right? And so to me, that how I would take that strong in spirit, just as sitting here in the Clean Juice in Nocatee, is that when people walk in, hopefully they walk out feeling a little bit better physically, and they walk out feeling a little bit stronger emotionally and maybe even spiritually by being able to be around believers that truly, man, they care about me, right? Yep. They were excited to see me. It made my day just a little bit better. And then maybe later they'll say, why? Why are you so excited? Why do y'all put Bible verse on here? Might give them also an opportunity to even go a step deeper. And I think that's really cool.
That's amazing.
You said, we were bold to share our faith, but, I just want to thank you for historically being so bold and throughout your career. And, I know you've taken heat for it sometimes, like we did, not to the same level as you, but it's just, it can be difficult. But I think it could be really cool. I've read your books and seen the commercials and know your story, but maybe for people that aren't as familiar, just for you to share your testimony and just, what Jesus has done for your life and, just
He's done everything for my life. He's, I grew up in a Christian household. My parents were missionaries. I was born overseas. I'm the son of missionaries, and I went to church all the time, but it wasn't until one day I was lying in my bed. I knew I didn't know Jesus, and I got up early, couldn't sleep, ran to go see my mom. And I said, "Mom, I got to ask Jesus to come into my heart." And she said, "Okay, let me go get your dad." I said, "No, Mom, we don't have time." Oh. So we got on my knees right there on our couch and asked Jesus to come into my heart. And I know at that moment I went from darkness to light. I was adopted into the family of God. My eternity was sealed, and have a home in heaven. But there was such a journey from that point, right? And one of the biggest, I think, impactful moments in my life after that was when I was 15. I was on a mission trip in the Philippines, and I had the opportunity to meet a boy with his feet on backwards who was viewed as a throwaway, as insignificant. Actually, a lot of people believed that he was cursed. And I knew that day that sports were a big part of my life, and that's what I wanted to, one of the things I wanted to do. But I knew leaving that village, that mountain that day, that boy changed my life, and I knew God had called me to a new, more important mission. And it wasn't sports anymore. It was the fight for people that can't fight for themselves. And really, he was a catalyst for TTF, and he was a catalyst for what I believe is my greatest calling in my life, that what I want to do till the day I get to go to heaven is fight for people that can't fight for themselves. Because when you really sum up what we do as a foundation, it is fighting for people that can't fight for themselves, whether that is the special needs, whether those that are being trafficked, whether it's the orphan, whether it's the forgotten, whether it's the people that are viewed as cursed around the world, the kids with life-threatening illnesses, whatever it is for those that have that are in their darkest hour of need, and they need us to bring faith, hope, and love. They need us to fight for them. They need us to stand up for them. And so I'm so grateful for all the different times that I feel like God has impacted my life, but those were really two of the most impactful and the catalyst for what I believe is my biggest calling to this day.
That's awesome.
It's very strong. Tim, I want to ask you, a pretty personal question, if you don't mind. We're sitting here in a Clean Juice. There's a prayer jar right behind you, right? And all of our guests have the opportunity, if they want, to write a prayer and to drop it in the jar, and then later we pray for them. So, if you were to write a prayer and drop it in that jar, what would your prayer be?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind would be that I would have the intimacy and wisdom to know what God wants me to do, and the courage to follow through on it. And that somehow God would take my weaknesses and my flaws and my failures, and like he's done with so many people and heroes in the Bible, that he would use them to do something to bring a lot of people to know him. Because ultimately, I want it to be the biggest thing that I do here on earth is make his name great and introduce people to him. And I know I've already failed at that so many times and fallen short, but I'm so grateful that our God is a God of mercy and grace, and that he uses people that fall short, and that means he can still somehow use me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think that would be my prayer, is that I would be close enough to know him and what he wants me to do, and I would have the courage to live it out.
Thanks for sharing that, Tim.
Really good. So I wanted to talk a little bit about work ethic. It's funny, sometimes Lynn and I will leave after meeting you, and I'm like, Tim just makes you want to I'm accomplishing nothing in life. I'm like a complete failure. When you just have this presence about you that screams work ethic, and really that's purpose and drive.
That's right.
And doing what God wants you to do. But what can you say to maybe some of those young athletes out there, maybe they're in Little League or high school, or just athletes that are so focused on sports, about your work ethic and how you got to where you are?
What's funny is my whole life, and probably all of our lives, we hear people in school and coaches and teachers and everything, they talk about having a work ethic, and it never really made sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me. You don't want to have a work ethic for the sake of having a work ethic, right? Whoever said that's a great thing, it's a work ethic, right? You want to have a work ethic because the purpose in what you're doing is so great, that I care about it so much. I can't help but have a good work ethic. I can't help but be disciplined. I can't help but be focused. I can't help but be a critical thinker. I can't help but be locked in, because what we're asked to do is so important, right? I think when you try to inspire people in work ethic is the end goal, I think it's really hard, because yes, we can get up at 5 o'clock and we can go train. We can get up at 5 o'clock and go train. But then it's like, dude, I'm just having a work ethic for work ethic. It's gonna fizz out, right? But if your purpose is so great, if you care about it so high, if your mission is so important, then I think the work ethic is sustainable. The discipline is sustainable. I just don't think, for the sake of work ethic, that people can get up and train and give their best every day. I don't. But if the mission is so important, if it's so valuable, if it's for your faith, your friends, your family, your hurting people, living out a dream, if that's what you're doing, now my work ethic can be stronger because my why is stronger. And I would encourage those high school, middle schooler kids that maybe are listening to us right now, that they're trying to figure that out, then I would go deeper than just your work ethic. I would go to the why. Why are you doing it? Do you really love it? What is your dream in doing it? Is it to get a college scholarship? Is it to be able to make your parents proud? Is it to be able to prove that out? Whatever it is, have something that is stronger than just your work ethic, and have your why be something that is so strong. That's the reason you can get up and go grind.
It's really great. Tim, when we created Clean Juice, one of our prayers for the brand was that, we weren't just going to provide healthy food, but like you said earlier, we're going to do it in a fun, loving atmosphere, and almost be a place where people can come in, get a really healthy product, enjoy the smiling faces, somebody behind the counter that actually cares for them.
Yes.
And almost be a place of refuge for them from the craziness of their life, right? when we sit with you, you have so much going on, right? There's so much noise and kind of almost chaos in your life, right? What do you do to kind of drown out the noise? What do you do to get some, get some silence or relief?
I think it's by the people we're around.
Yeah.
I think so much that we do in life is about the people. And for me, where I go to find that refuge, and I guess you could say the peace, is the people, is my wife, is my mom and dad, is my friends, is our family at TTF. I'd say sometimes it's our orphanages around the world, or the people we get to minister with and to as well. I'd say, the team that we're so blessed to be around, like, I love being around them every day. I love going to our foundation offices and hang with our team because they're the best people I know. And I think it's important. My dad always told me when we were young, he who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. And in a multitude of counselors, there is wisdom. And, I just really wanted to try, and haven't always done it, but I want to try and take that to heart, right? Where, I want to walk with wise people. I want to have people around me that are going to speak life, speak truth into my life, hold me accountable, but also look forward to being with them because I know who they are, what they're about, and I'm grateful for that. And I think that is really a driving force in my life, is having those people, because man, there's a big difference when you're filled up with those people versus if you don't have them.
Absolutely. Kat and I had the pleasure of meeting you, Tim, in your Tim Tebow Foundation. And when we left there, we said, man, Tim is just in his element in there. You were so genuine. Your interaction with your crew, it was just so authentic. And that tells us that you care, right? And you care so much about them, but also you're getting filled up from what you're doing. You have purpose in your life. And that came across very clear to us.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing when we're there is that I never count the hours. It's just, and all of a sudden, and my wife knows, she's like, oh, if you're going to the office today, I know I'm not seeing you till late, because it just goes by, because we love what we're doing so much that it's so important how it's not just for us, it's not a charity, it's not an organization, it is a mission, it is a calling, it is a purpose, right? And I encourage all the listeners to search for that in your life. What is that thing that is so much bigger that you never have to punch an alarm clock and you never have to wait till Friday for, right? Because life's not about one day, it's about this day. Find that thing that this is your day to go after that. Because for me, it's there, and it's what we get to do there. And I'm glad you guys felt it when you were there, because it truly is a lot of my favorite people and favorite things to do.
It's great people. It's really down to, like, every time we've been there, we're like, every single person is just down to earth, genuine. You can feel it. So yeah, it speaks a lot to you too. They say, who you surround yourself with is who you are, and you surround yourself with great people. So
they're a lot better than me.
So lastly, I kind of want to talk about, you don't align yourself with a ton of brands, and I think, that's probably by design. And, I know you've even mentioned some sponsorships you turned down just because you didn't align with their brands and didn't want to promote them. But you've chosen Clean Juice, which is awesome. So, I know we've talked a lot about this, but maybe just, what's the number one thing that speaks out to you about Clean Juice, and what are you most excited about moving forward with?
Yeah, I think it's several things. I think it's one, it's the people, it's you guys, and I think two, it's the product, that it's like I mentioned, that it is it's good for people, and it's, I think, gonna help people walk out the doors being better, being encouraged. I think overall what you guys have done and what you guys have started, it's exciting, it's encouraging. I think it's super commendable. I love that you have Bible verses right behind you, Landon, and I love that it's something that you're not ashamed of, and you're willing to live out, and you're going to encourage other people in that. And I love that. It's also something, Kat, the first time we talked, you were so determined on the process of how everything goes, like that it has to be this clean, and we go through this process, and I loved it, and it was almost like dogmatic, but it was great. It was, and I love that when people come into a clean juice that they can trust the product, right? And I think it's really important to be authentic, transparent, and trustworthy. Because we're gonna disagree. A lot of people are gonna come and disagree. I think this is better than this. But if we're trustworthy about why we have it, if we're trustworthy about and we're transparent about it, then we can even disagree, but we know we're on the same page. And I think that's something that you guys have done such a great job on is just that people can trust it. It's extremely transparent and it's faith-based, and you're gonna wear that on your sleeve. And I think I think all those reasons combined is why I'm thankful to be sitting here today.
It's awesome, Tim. Well, we're deeply thankful for you. We appreciate the vote of confidence and just the partnership. And like Kat said, we believe it's going to bear a lot of great fruit. And we're just grateful for you.
Literally.
We're grateful for what. Yeah, exactly. Literally, right? We're grateful for who you are and who God created you to be. So thank you, brother. Thanks for being on our podcast, and thank you for joining the team.
I'm grateful too, and I'm also excited to see the health impacts of so many people. Mm-hmm. I know we've kind of put that slightly to the back burner when we've talked and everything, but that also is super encouraging to me. Is just also seeing the pictures back here, and it's just like you're like, yes, this is I love encouraging people. They can do this. Come on, and love it. So I'm pumped. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Tim.